Hi again, folks. It's me, your host, Wendie Patrick, and welcome to another episode of Quantumly Yours podcast through Finnessiam Health. That's us, finnessiamhealth.com. And we are here in the UK and Northern Ireland and also in Canada and the US. We still have both parts of us existing, so you can still find us one way or the other. Best way is through the website. Welcome again. And this is going to be maybe short and sweet. Hopefully, I don't ramble on too long. But something happened recently. And I just wanted to share that because it was another part of obviously my journey that I had to explore to step forward and move forward as we are doing this year. And it's just a what if question for all of you out there in whatever part of your journey you're on, whatever part of learning or developing or growing, whatever you want to call it. And just for positive reinforcement to let you know that you're not alone to begin with. And that all of us go through all of these periods of growth at different stages. And some of us aren't quite ready. And some of us are very challenged about it. And it's just a what if we could do better? What if we could be better? I mean, it's always, hashtag be better and stuff like that. But what am I getting into here is more obviously to do with our animals, because that's what I'm really all about. But it's more about what if we could do better when it comes to welfare. Now, welfare here in Ireland is absolutely atrocious. I'm not going to mince my words on that. I'm going to call it for what it is. But I see a lot of rescues, charities, things like that, absolutely stretched to the limit, doing everything that they can and still overburdened, overworked, underpaid, undersubscribed, undersupported, and still carrying on doing what they do because that's their journey, that's their purpose, that's what they're here for. And in fact, that relates to most animal fields. See horrendous videos regularly, probably daily, actually, from a particular rescue here in Ireland, called out to emergency situations with animals in dire needs, whether that's dogs, whether it's cats, whether it's horses, whether it's pigs, doesn't matter. And they're there, they go the extra mile. What gets me is that everybody claims that they love animals. Well, not everybody, I suppose. But we're all supposed to be an animal loving society in this so called developed country. Yet there is still so much abuse, neglect, horrific conditions, um, animals being raced down roads, being left to die at the side of the road. It's absolutely awful. I don't want to make this into a dire, horrible horror movie of a podcast, but it's awful. And there's a blind eye in a vast majority of cases being turned to it. Why? Is it fear from speaking out? Is it fear from rattling cages? At the end of the day, we're their voice. We are the only voice the animals have to communicate to each other through. And so the longer we stay silent or do nothing, the more we'll suffer. It is as simple as that. I know there is that sense of complacency. Well, my dogs are well looked after and my animals are fine, or oh, I do the best of care for this, that, and the other. But then it's like, okay, outside of my four walls or my four fences or whatever, then it doesn't apply. It's very odd, and it's scary to me in a sense because it shows what we've become as a society and as people in general, where the selfishness takes hold to a degree where we want what we want, we get what we get, we need what we need, and we do what we do. Okay, but what if you could widen that horizon? What if you could go that extra mile? What if you could just look outside your little box, if you like, and acknowledge and do something to help change the situation of all those other animals that aren't in your care, that aren't being cared for? I'm not saying open up your home and have 20 dogs. That's not the answer. I don't know what the answer is, to be absolutely honest with you, but we should be able to do better. Turning a blind eye to someone who is using a harsh method of whether it be training, looking after, feeding, care. Now, as I've mentioned before, not everybody's in the same place to be able to accept change or to look at doing something differently. My goodness, we're in this state because a lot of people are doing the things that they've done because their fathers, their grandfathers, their historical members of family, whatever the heck it is, have been doing it for years. So they think that's okay. Now, is it? Not if animals are suffering, not if emaciated, flea ridden, mange infested animals or broken limbs, horrible shod. Oh, goodness. I mean, the list is absolutely endless. I mean, you can't just pass this off as tradition or because we've done that for decades or centuries. It just won't fly anymore. It just won't. And we have a lot to blame as well, of course, on our politicians and governments who, again, if they're not making money from it or if they're not getting, enough follows from it or enough votes for it, then they're not going to pay attention to it. But I think we all need to speak up a little bit or a little bit louder or a little bit more. Reach out to the rescue, find out what they do, find out what they go through. Go to your MPs, go to whoever it is, or start your own campaigns. Start banging that drum louder for our animals. There are better ways in so many different aspects. And what sort of triggered this whole thing was something that was recently, there was a debate going on within a group of people who I know through various ways, but this trainer didn't like that trainer, or something said somebody to get somebody's heckles up, or somebody didn't like this, that, or the other thing. And there was the whole, head to head thing going on. But it's the wrong way to move forward. I was challenged myself with some training methods that I had grown up with and used when I used to train. And honestly, I haven't progressed anything further because I don't consider myself a trainer anymore and haven't for at least the last 10 years or so. But there is such a growth and such a movement forward in doing things better. With the work that I do now, I'm treating every animal as a sentient being because they are. I'm looking at gentler methods to look at horses. I'm looking at gentler approaches. These things have come through accidents, incidents, education, and lots of different ways. But that's because I've searched for that, because my passion is to try and help these animals better. But it doesn't just end with helping the animals. I can't help them if the people aren't ready to help them too, or to learn some better way of doing something. And that can be training methods, that can be using different types of collars or not. It can be using different types of bits and bridles or not. It can be using different kinds of food or not. It can be identifying what's right for the animal or not. But it all comes down to, are you ready for growth yourself? Are you there yet? When are you going to get there? If these little messages keep popping into your wheelhouse and going, look, what about that? What about that? What about that? And you keep backing up, throwing the wall up, slamming the door in the face and going, no, 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 I've done this because so and so taught me this 30 years ago, or I'm doing this because so and so recommended this, or 20 people, other people, friends of mine, they all do this, so I have to do it too. What do you need to do for you and your animals? What do you need to do for other animals? It's a bit of a debate. I know that there's no hard answers. I'm not going to be able to give them to you today. I wish I could have them. I wish I could find them. But I think it's all of our job as a collective society, no matter where you are in the world, not to turn a blind eye, to try and introduce a conversation, to ask a question. Now, if you ask the question and somebody gets their heckles up and just basically beats you down, today's not the day to have the conversation. That's fine. You have to love that person where they're at and allow them to find that next step for themselves. Sometimes they're eager to find out what's going on. The answers will come flooding back to you. Well, what do you mean? What can I do? What else is there? I didn't know that. And that's where we have our roles as people involved in animal welfare and well-being to have the conversation, then introduce that person to something better, something new, help them to make better decisions. Don't belittle them, contradict them, bang them down or anything else. It's like, okay, you know what though? You come at me with defense of everything else and I'll go, okay, you do you, fine. And I will turn my back because it's not going to be worth my energy to have a fight. And I'm not going to have a fight with you. You will get what you give whenever it's me. Most people who know me know that very well. Good, bad, or indifferent is whatever. But what my role is, what my purpose is to try and plant those little seeds. And I really, really hope those seeds will grow, develop, and blossom so that you become such a strong force as well with information, with positivity moving forward, with knowledge, with experience, and show the next person. It's all about paying it forward and helping this whole system come up. Because when we all know better, we all do better. Thank you, Maya Angelou, for that. I always love that quote. So it's fine if you're not ready. You've probably already turned off by now anyway. If you came across the podcast and then was like, nope, she's on a rant. Fine, not for me. That's absolutely grand. But just want to change perspectives on things. Take yourself out of you. The next time a challenge comes up to you, say it's something that's been crossing your path for a year, a month, a week. But the faster that happens, or the more often that happens, to me, that's someone, something, universe, energy, God, whatever you want to label it as, trying to get your attention, trying to get you to give that subject attention. A nice way to look at it is to basically take a step back. If you're getting in the offense, or you're getting your heckles up, or you're getting that questioning, you want to learn. That's great, because you'll start that dialogue with asking the questions back, having an actual discussion without it having to be heated, without having to be any anger involved in it. And then you can take that away and dissect it, digest it, look at it, come at it from different ways, and either have an aha moment, which is what I did, or pass it off until the next time that comes across your path. And then okay, maybe I should be looking at this. Maybe I've turned a blind eye to this for too long. A lot of people would like to. A lot of people are in a position as well where they're ready to take that next step, but they just simply don't know where to go. Okay, if you're listening to this, message me. Finnessiamhealth.com, you'll find our contact information on there. Send me off a little message and I will help you as best as I can, if I have the ability and if I have the knowledge and if I have the resources, to point you in the right direction of where to look. Let's do better. And let's do it together. So whenever you have that conversation, if you're ready, make sure you find some answers. You may be able to find them on your own, but even the person you had the conversation with about that particular thing should know resources of where you can go next for more information and help. What if it's about fooding? Feeding? If it's about feeding, certainly you can talk to me. I can even test your animal from anywhere in the world. That's not a big issue. That's another thing. You know about that if you've been on here for long enough, what we do. But if you're new, yes, we can do remote testing. I'm a naturopath specializing in animals, and we do it through no means of invasive, fancy machines, anything else. And we teach it as well. Yes, we have the course. I mentioned that before. I have to plug it. Nobody else is going to advertise it for me. I got to do it myself. That's what I'm on here doing, as well as trying to help educate. So anyway, let's go back to that where you've been confronted with that question. Why are you doing this? You're not ready for that conversation. Okay. The conversation might come. That's fine. The conversation won't. But when you're ready, and any of us who are trying to grow, who are trying to spread better information, better ways, or educate on that, they'll be very willing to have a conversation with you. If they're wanting to have a fight, just get yourself out of it. Just, agree to disagree, move on, because maybe the person that you're asking doesn't actually have that information themselves. So recognize that for what it is. As I say, a lot of people are in this progression, this growth, awakening, if you want to call it that, where they're really wanting to find answers. They really want to do something better. Okay, well, then you're going to have to probably face some hard truths. It's not to say that what you were doing is wrong. It's what you knew to be right in your present situation. Is there a better way? There might be. So please don't be afraid to look at that and address it. Approach it as if you were completely new, you knew absolutely nothing at all, so that you can listen with open ears rather than going in with your baggage and your preconceived notions, ideas, your history, your experiences, and what you've been doing up to now. And then just sit and go, well, maybe there's validity in that statement. Maybe what that person was saying was right. Maybe I want to get them to elaborate on what they were saying. I want to know more about this. And that inquisitive mind is good, because that means that you are open to growing, learning more, getting more education, doing more courses, whatever it is, or searching out better practitioners who do things the way that you would like to do, whether that be through nutrition, whether that be through general health and well-being, whether that be complementary modalities, the light therapy, hydrotherapy, PEMF, osteopaths, chiropractors. There's so many different things that you can keep moving forward for. I really want to harp back, though, on this whole welfare situation. I'd love to know if anybody has some really good, solid answers to help these animals better who are found starving, neglected, and everything else. Is one thing I need to do, and this is a sore point, definitely with me, and it's things that it's an item or a subject that a lot of people in my circle would get very riled up about and very angry about. The puppy farming that goes on. Now, I know it is absolutely rife up the east coast of Canada, the east coast of North America. Lots of puppy farming goes on. A lot of those animals end up being advertised on platforms, selling platforms. They shouldn't be. If they're breeding, they should be breeding for a reason. And anybody who's just taking a litter of puppies off their dog because it's healthier needs to give their head a shake at this point in time. That is not true. That's like saying if you have a daughter, you're going to make sure she has to have a child. That's not for everybody. It's certainly not for every animal. It's certainly not for every pet owner to just decide to indiscriminately breed their animal so that their children can experience the puppies. Or because we really like her and want another one. Well, that would be cloning. Breeding doesn't get that. Not necessarily. So just stop for a second. Next time you want that puppy, go check out the rescues, but also investigate the rescues. This is important. There have been more and more and more that I have heard about, got wind of. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I'm just passing on the hearsay information as hearsay information. But it's something I think that anyone who's looking to buy or rescue or adopt a puppy is to investigate who they're getting it from. Some are very, very cunning and present them in gorgeous big mansions. There was a court case there a little while ago. Finally, someone was charged because yes, they showed off these puppies in their beautiful house to get buyers, but yet they were being bred in barns in squalid conditions. Absolutely disgusting. And that's not the way that we are supposed to be looking after our animals in this present day. So make sure who you get them from is doing it right. Where did that animal originate from? Some rescues are even buying from puppy mills, or they're exchanging animals. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous and frightening. And the sad thing is, general public do not know this, because who's going to tell them? And that's where I'll use my voice to shine a light on things like that. Bring it out of the dark. Bring it into the light. make people make better informed decisions, help people do the education rather than just running through the checkout and grabbing a chocolate bar because it's there. It's almost the same thing. It's like, I want a puppy. I'm going online. I find it. Or I'm going to go to a rescue and do it. Now, most good, reputable rescues will do home checks or interviews or certain amount of meet and greets with the animal before they'll let that go out of their care. But you know what I'm saying? What if there was a better way to do all of this? To keep every animal in a good home, to stop unwanted and unnecessary breeding, to stop trigger happy impulse buying and getting that puppy for Christmas, where 2 months previously they dumped the senior dog in a rescue or in a kennel or in some pound so that they could have room for the puppy. Yeah, it happens, and it happens too often. Let's make that stop. And if you're one of the people who was involved in that, okay, you know now, do better. Educate your friends. Have the regret. It's fine to be sorry for what you might have done or may have been lured into or may have been coerced into or tempted into. Or, I mean, who could avoid the little cute puppy? It's so cute. We need a puppy. That one's getting old. She's not doing anything anymore. We'll just put her down or give her away or dump her on the side of the road even. Stop it. It's enough. Do better. What if you could? I have to leave it there because, as you can hear, Wendie's getting riled up, and I am not here to do that. Please think about all the things we can do. And as I say, really reach out to me if there is a way that we can do better. And if I can do better, and if we can support these animals, we can get these puppy mills shut down rather than complaining about them and they end up getting a license. Yes, that happens. That happens. Disgusting. So whether it's working together with associations, organizations, governments, different animal welfare, but some, even in the government, they don't have strong enough laws. Let's push for that. Let's push for better sentencing because a lot of these people doing these puppy mills and everything else, if they get caught because 2 or 3 animals died, 4 or 5 or 6 died or sick or whatever, they're getting off scot-free. They sell another 2 puppies next week and they've made their fine up. I mean, it's so ludicrous. So we have to push for better sentencing, better laws, better animal welfare in general. And I know there are associations out there trying to do what they can do and trying to do as much as they can do. And I think we all need to support them. We all need to stand up and speak for the animals. We all need to stand up and speak against people doing harm or causing harm to them. Let's say enough. Let's move forward in this year by going, okay, enough is enough. This is time for change. This is time to do better. And if we could all do better, it would be amazing. Think how many happier animals we would have. Think how better we could be as a whole collective because you know the energy. Those animals are happy and we're happy. That energy gets better. It's positive. It's moving forward. Good wins. Stamp out the evil. Light up the darkness. But we will win in the end. May not be in my lifetime. Let's make sure it's in yours. Thanks a lot for joining me again, folks. And as always, stay possum.